We're a jovial bunch, rather lighthearted. Our motto, Quia Absurdum, generally means, I believe, because it's absurd. So from 1880 to the 1920s, from the 3rd Street down to the river, from M Street up to J Street in Sacramento, was an area called the Tenderloin. The Tenderloin was where most of the illicit business at the time was taking place at, and of course there were brothels there. Brothels were known by many names. The best were called parlor houses. They were upper class destinations. They had elaborate decor and bawdy music going on. From 1907 to 1913, the best of the best was the Cherry Club, owned and operated by one Cherry D. St Maurice, dubbed Queen of the Sacramento Tenderloin. So who was Cherry? Well, good question. Technically, nobody really knows. Cherry traveled from back east, headed west, and on the way she reinvented herself. Gave herself a new name, new background. By the time she arrived in Sacramento with a traveling production company that was putting on a musical comedy called Florodora, she was Cherry D. St. Maurice. Well, when that operation folded, Cherry decided to stay in Sacramento. So she became employed by Fanny Brown's Palace, a brothel on 2nd Street. In fact, it used to be at 2nd and J, where the Pony Express monument is today. Anyway, Cherry stayed in Sacramento. She did quite well for herself, and in 1907 she bought her own house. This place had 10 bedrooms, a full parlor, big one, a full basement underneath. It had a dining room, big kitchen. She decorated it with lavish, sensuous style. She had a piano, of course, because that's where the music came from. And in 1907, Cherry installed a telephone, listed in the Sacramento directory as Main 543. Cherry Club was an instant success. It was a prestigious rendezvous point for the prominent citizens, legislators, lawyers, and well-founded travelers of the time. There was even some clergy that would occasionally show up. The Cherry Club was well known as an elegant, fastidious resort and of high caliber. And the allure of the Cherry Club was much greater than the trade itself. Cherry was reported to be well-read, well-versed, well-educated. Now, whether she was educated or not, who knows? But it was her own intellectual prowess that made the club itself so popular. She would discuss issues of the time with clergy, officials, and other intellects. She was astute, well-read, educated, and she was able to debate her positions with authority and vigor. Cherry appeared several times before Governor Hiram Johnson and the legislators, lobbying for or against various bills. One thing Cherry loathed was the politicians who preached morality by day and frequented the Tenderloin by night. Cherry's business, like others, had its ups and downs. She had purchased properties. One large purchase was down in south of Sacramento in what's now the Pocket area. She purchased 50 acres of land in the Del Paso Manor area, now known as the north area of Sacramento. She had property in Lake Tahoe. There was some dispute about whether she should be there or not, but she owned that property. She had a few bad times, like everybody. Her business was burglarized twice. In both instances, the guys were caught right after they committed the burglary. One was shot, and the other one was just arrested and taken off to jail. She also had a lawsuit filed against her by one of her former managers of her outlying properties. In 1911, there was an incident involving a 15-year-old. Cherry was arrested and charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Seems this 15-year-old had stolen his father's car, picked up 2 gals, and started drinking at various clubs throughout the area. Well, one of the clubs was the Cherry Club. Well, by the time the guy got to Folsom, he got popped, and he was arrested, put in jail, and Cherry was charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Now, from Cherry's position, she pleaded not guilty. Her take on it was, how can I be guilty of contributing to the delinquency of a guy who's already a delinquent? The hearing was scheduled for summer of 1913. Alas, that hearing never came. Tragedy struck. On July 8th, 1913, Cherry failed to respond to repeated knocks on her door. So Cleo Sterling, an employee, volunteered to go up to her balcony, peer in the windows, and see what she could see. Well, when she looked in, she saw Cherry's naked body laying on the floor, obviously dead. The police were summoned. The coroner was summoned. They quickly determined that Cherry had died from strangulation from behind and a broken neck. The police also figured that they had, stolen jewelry and money, but not all of it.
Pre-ejaculation.
So they left in a great hurry.
He popped his cherry.
The only clues were pieces of tape and fingerprints. Brand new technology of the time. 3 people were arrested in this crime. One we've already heard of, Cleo Sterling. Her boyfriend Sam Raber, and an ex-boxer named Jack Drumgoole. All 3 were tried. Sam Raber was found guilty of murder in the first degree, sentenced to hang. In 1915, they hung him at Folsom Prison. Jack Drumgoole, the guy who actually did the strangling, was found guilty. They gave him life. He died in 1920 in San Quentin from tuberculosis. Cleo Sterling, the ringleader of the group, was found not guilty, and shortly after that verdict, she left Sacramento post haste. So Cherry's funeral was 4 days after the death. It was well turned out, well attended. As Cherry had no known relatives, all of her estate went to the city of Sacramento. Nice. Who is right? Go figure there, right? I'd like to give a special thanks to William Berg. He's not here, but William is a local historian and author, and he's noted for his book Wicked Sacramento, which is where we gleaned most of the information on Cherry. Oddly enough, no marker was placed on Cherry's grave. 107 years later, John A. Sutter, chapter 1841, has rectified that situation.
What say the brothers? And recorded.
And
Write that
now
shit
I would
down.
like to,
Duly noted.
Gary the Colonel Clinky, Derek, our current NGH,
Stinky
Stinky
bastard.
Bastard, Deanda, and Corey the Carp Lewis. I don't know where you're hiding.
He's hiding behind
Oh,
me.
he's hiding behind us. You can come up if
He
you
can't
want.
hide behind nobody. He's trying.
Get up there, Corey.
Come on up.
Get up.
So with that, I will turn the mic over to Derek. Oh, to Gary? All right, to Gary. Gary was actually humbug when we got this project moving.
Yeah, Gary.
And I got some really cool pictures of how this thing was all put together, but it's on my phone at home because I thought, oh, I don't need that. Oops. Anyway, Yeah, it was pretty interesting how they put this together. First, they dug out the bottom of it, and they laid this concrete stone on it, and then they put down some special glue. And believe it or not, they actually stuck some coins on there. And I thought, what are they doing now? They're just putting coins in there for prosperity? No, actually, it helps hold it down. And then there's 3 bolts that are embedded in the top of the stone itself, and then there was some holes that they actually drop into. And the pure weight of the stone on top helps keep it solid. And basically, overnight it was good to go. So I thought it was pretty interesting how they did this. And you will see those pictures. I'll get those over to our website, and you'll all be able to see those. Well, I think we've waited long enough for this.
Ditto.
Ditto!
Yeah.
Number 11.
So here you go, Mr. Humbug.
Number 42.
Number 12.
And as you all heard,
Shut up,
the
stupid.
premature pop, as most men probably did at the Tenderloin.
Yeah.
We're here for Cherry.
You
and
do it all the time.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like the first
know
time.
Yes.
Want to do the honors?
Girlfriends talk.
Corey, why don't you take the other side? Come over here and read. He can't read. I can't read.
Woo!
Here she is. Cherry D. St Maurice, born in who knows, died July 8th, 1913. Queen of the Sacramento Tenderloin. The Cherry Club, formerly located at 327 L Street, was the most prestigious parlor house in all of California.
This is moist.
It operated under the guidance of Cherry D. St. Maurice, madam and owner from 1907 to July 8, 1913. Cherry beauty and keen intellect in combination with being astute, well-read and educated created an ambiance that attracted most prominent citizens of the day to the Cherry Club. Not only wealthy, Cherry also enjoyed respect and equality for those she knew and was poised to become someone of prominence in the Sacramento area, possibly even in politics. Alas, it was not to be. Cherry was murdered in her quarters during the robbery occurrence on July 8, 1913. Thus became the demise of Cherry and her infamous Cherry Club. Monument placed. The ancient and honorable order of E. Clampus Vitus, John A. Sutter, chapter 1841, 2020, our year of 2065. Quio quidem assertum. What says the brethren?
Silent Backwards!
Drink.
Beautiful.
Woo!
Here's the cherry.
Now that's one hell of a dousing.
Yes, it was.
Beautiful.
Satisfactory, brothers.
Satisfactory.
Come up close, take a look at it. It's a nice marker.
I just want to give a tip.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's right, making it really feel at home.